Hello there. This is going to be the final chapter of this hack. As you can see, it's called the final obstacle, because that's what it is. This one is almost certainly going to be split up into multiple videos, because it's a 20-turn defend chapter, so it's going to be long. And you're going to see me make liberal use of save states, because probably I'm going to die a lot. So here we are in the mountains. As you may remember, Hector was leading us through the mountains so we could get to Austria. We're really close now. We walked a long way. You know, this Austria's right around the corner. And you can see I put Hector and Lynn slightly too close together over there. I didn't space them out properly. That happened several times in this hack, as you've already seen. I actually do like that Elwood, he changes his mind. Like, he really wants to like Hector. So every time Hector seems even slightly... like, he seems like he's like, oh, you see, you're not so bad after all. You know, you're actually kind of cool. And then every time this happens, Hector immediately says something to piss him off. So Elwood just, he really tries to like Hector. But, Hector does that on purpose, BT dubs, because he's basically a ball of trust issues. He has problems. It is kind of funny, though. Here's this dude. Turns out Laos has caught up with us. We're in trouble. Hector's pretty chillaxed about it. He's just like, man, that's not good. Oh well. He's out of it. Lynn, of course, is the one who, she comes with this plan. You know, given that they hang around with the tactician, maybe I should have the tactician come up with the plan, but it seems like Lynn would think of this. It makes more sense. I feel like the plan is weird enough that I would not have thought of this plan as a tactician. The Herald is really fast, I guess, so he's gonna quickly run through the pass and get help while we survive. One thing I want to say about this chapter is that... oh, and here's the Herald. Yeah, I really should put Elwood and Hector one space inwards so that these guys would be lined better. I guess it's not so bad since they don't switch back and forth that much. And this is the Herald. You may remember Marcus sent him with us so that we'd have, you know, proof that we're really legit from Marcus and he can advocate for us with Lord Uther. So he'll be able to get help from the Austrian Knights. So this is the final battle. And here's the Herald taking his sweet-ass time. I meant to, like, make him go faster, but I guess I didn't get around to that. But he can do all of that in one move, so he must have, like, 20 move, where we only have, like, 6. So, you can see we get to use all of our lovely units. And this is also the moment when we're going to use all of our stat boosters. We have 2 secret books, a speed wing, and 2 energy rings. I really should have put in a dragon shield at some point. But, so for the speed wing, Priscilla is fast. So is Lynn and Raven, who's slow as shit. A lot of people. I could give it to Heath. It would help him, like, double shit. He doesn't really need to be that fast because he's so strong, though. It actually might help Elwood. If he's too slow to double axe fighters, he's going to be even more of a burden than he's already going to be. Hector... certainly wouldn't hurt him to be fast, I guess. I'll give it to Elwood. Yeah. Because he actually relies on speed more than Hector does. Heath pretty much doesn't rely on speed at all. But, so now he's not quite as useless. Really should have put a dragon's shield in this hack. I kept telling myself that, but okay. Now, skill. Most of our sword guys don't care about this because they're skilled enough to hit. You know, end of story. Heath, I think he'll be fine. He's going to be more of a tank anyway. Louise is surprisingly unskilled for an archer. But, Hector... wow, we have a lot of people with shitty skill. I think Elwood doesn't need it because sword users tend to be really accurate. And I think Louise also will be fine because, bows... wow, the hit on a bow is only 85? Bows are shitty. Well, they're not as bad as axes, so... whereas swords, like, he'll be fine, you know. So that's why I usually end up giving it to Hector, because usually the rest of my axe dudes aren't quite this bad. Kent, he's not going to be helpful enough to make it worthwhile. These two, they'll be fighting lance users. I think I'll give it to Hector just because he's going to be facing... Well, I've got 2 of them, actually. There's no point in giving 2 to Hector. That's like, that should be enough. Who has more strength? We're better off having Dart hit more often compared to Geitz. Yeah, apologies if I'm making any like stupid resource management decisions here. Again, I'm not that good at this game or anything. And now we just have the 2 energy rings, which this could be another tough decision. Okay. Doesn't need it, doesn't need it, doesn't need it. He turned out surprisingly, Ken turned out better than I thought he would. This video is probably going to be, the preparation is probably going to be a video all by itself. And I guess I'll get a little look at the map and then we'll start playing. Nino, nobody has enough res that she's going to need these guys. Lynn did surprisingly well too. Carla, she usually doesn't end up being a frontliner. Farina, it actually would be good for Farina to have more strength because she's really useful in this chapter. And Ellawood, I guess you can use the rapier if worse comes to worse, but yeah, I think, well, I have 2 of them actually, yeah, I actually do have, I managed to get that other one. So Farina's going to use 1, and I think 10 strength, with an attack of 17, and she'll be doubling everything with her speed. So I think that should be fine for her. The other one, I'm honestly considering Ellawood just because I really don't know what to do with him with his defense this low. I don't know if he's going to be helpful at all. In other times I played through this chapter, he hasn't been nearly this shitty in terms of defense. But, yeah, and if he's not going to be able to even block the door, I mean, I think Lynn has better defense than him. Yeah, by a point. He has marginally better HP, but let me go through and see who's defense. I know this part is really boring, but I have to figure out what my strategy is going to be. Okay, so these 3, yeah, they were always going to have good defense. I really should have put a dragon shield in. I really wanted at least one other person with like a 9 or a 10 defense, and I don't have that. Geitz has, God, his defense is awful. We're just going to have to heal a lot, I guess, but maybe I should, I think, yeah, Lynn is better than Ellawood in everything but resistance and a point of luck. So she'll be dodgier and she's going to hit harder. She's got slightly worse HP, but it's only 2 points. And with the better defense, that kind of balances out. Maybe I'll have her be the main, but I really wanted her by the I could give... Does Ellawood have enough constitution to use the Lance Reaver? What's his constitution? 7. How heavy is the Lance Reaver? I think he's still got it. 9. So it's not... So maybe I'll put him down at the south door instead of Lynn. He can keep the Lance Reaver. I did give him the speed boost, so he's... Lynn is a lot dodgier. But right now she's also tankier because of Ellawood being an amazing disappointment to me in terms of his defense. Well, I mean, it's not like he has such a good growth. I shouldn't have relied on it. But he's always turned out really good before. Louise... She has better defense, and she can't counter kill. But I really need her in the ballista. I could have them swap out, I guess. Well, maybe I'll try my standard strategy and see how it goes. But yeah, back to trying to decide who should get the extra strength. Carla has the lowest strength, but I don't think it's worthwhile for her to have it. Lynn, I think, will be fine. Farina already got a boost, and I think she got enough of one because Lance is hit pretty hard. I guess I will give it to Ellawood. Because he he usually ends up... He's going to be at one of the doors, so he'll need it. Yeah, this is the boring resource management puzzle. I know. If only his defense had... If only I'd put a dragon shield in this attack. If only that. Okay, yeah, we're going to want to spread out the vulneraries. These... She'll be with them. We're going to be stealing some too. These two should have a vulnerary each, at the very least, because they'll be soloing for part of it. Yeah, and here's the part where I boringly shuffle around items. I know. It's not exactly thrillsome in it. Maybe he'll be okay, because he's got the wolf bale too. I think he'll be okay. Probably. We'll wait and see, I guess. Although he hardly needs... He doesn't need an extra axe. So I'll give Geitz the extra nearly broken axe, and Hector can have this one, just in case. I don't think we're gonna... I think I bought more axes. I think I overestimated the amount of axes we were gonna need. He should be fine. Yeah, I know this looks like kind of intense, but it actually is important to have the resources managed here, because you're not really gonna have time to people run around trading items once you get in the chapter. You kind of have them in their spot, doing what they need to do. So it actually is important to get things sorted out properly. Oh, does Elwood have a vulnerary? He's gonna need a vulnerary. That is a must. I could give someone else the steel sword. What's Kent's con? 9? And steel sword weighs what? Because if it slows him down, there's no point. 10. It's gonna slow him down a little, but it'll slow Elwood down a lot, and he can't afford that, so... Maybe I'll just give it to Kent just in case. So, just in case we need it. I guess I'll throw out this extra iron lance, or just give it to... Farina never hurts to have an extra. Just because I don't want Kent's inventory to be... Or I don't want Elwood to have a useless one just hanging around. Who needs the extra hand axe? I think he's got... They'll be okay. Hector can use an extra. Now... I really didn't do this inventory management shit very well. Okay, what I'm going to do, since Elwood and Hector will be together, I'll give him the extra vulner so they can just trade off. Did not buy as many vulners as perhaps I should have. I'll let her hold a one-use one, because it would probably come in handy. I'm going to be stealing some vulners also. I forget you can't drop items. I guess you can in the thing. Okay, I think our items are pretty well arranged. So now I'm gonna check the map and just gonna show you what we got going on here. It's a mountain pass. As you can see, there's a lot of mountains. It took me a long time to do this map. I'm not very good at mountains. You can also see this blank space here. That's because in the unit list, I loaded the Tactician and the Herald as part of the same thing, kind of out of laziness. But the ones that happened, I was like, I guess that's kind of cool. You can shove whichever units you want further forward, if you want. So I kept it just for the hell of it. You can see that there's some enemies you can only reach with flyers up here, these sort of series of cliffs. It's supposed to look very cliffy. Some fortresses out here. This is the way the Herald escaped. Got our boss-ish dude here. I didn't change his text by accident. The thing, he'll have text at the end, but you're going to kill him, almost certainly. So just assume he flees or something. And this is just a little fortress, sort of like, think of it as an abandoned fortress, you know, like in the old mountain pass. And this chapter is a 20-turn defense chapter, and the way that I found works best, I did once try it with an alternate strategy of just sort of getting in a square here and trying to survive. It didn't work, because these are like thickets and stuff, so it was very hard to actually arrange people, such that I could protect the weaker ones. You really want to go in the fortress quickly and defend this door later on, and this door. I usually have Peg Knights. There'll be reinforcements on multiple turns. I guess I'll just explain them now. There'll be Peg Knights will start on turn 2 and continue for 3 turns up there. So you want axe guys around here. And I usually leave Priscilla here because there's usually some heavy-duty healing going on, and we have a lot of characters around here. With the Physic, she can also help out. That's why saving the Physic for this is good, because she can spot heal if she must. And she's also quite powerful herself, so she's good to back up your guys here. There are also reinforcements that appear inside the fortress. Some will appear on turn 2. So you want to get your guys in here as quickly as possible to kill them before they kill you. Bolting mages will appear. And you can steal vulners from them also, which is good. The ones inside the fortress will appear again on turn 5. But they'll be slightly different. Or no, they'll be the same. And you can either block the staircases if you can't afford to fight them, or fight them if maybe one of your guys is close to a level and it would help you survive, or you want to steal another vulnerary. Reinforcements will appear here in these fortresses on the right on turn 7 and continue for 4 turns. They'll be Myrmidons and Axe Fighters. That's why over here you can't rely on either lances or swords. I found what's best to do is I have Hector and Ellawood go over here. Normally Ellawood has a little better defense, which is important against the Myrmidons. And usually Nino, Louise, Raven, and Lynn are sort of on this side. And then Kent and Frina over here, and Heath is kind of here, sort of down here after finishing up the... I'll talk about that in a minute. But so they're over here blocking the doorway. And there's a couple of guys there so that you can switch out if you need to. They should be well equipped with vulneraries. Mages will appear on turns 5 and 10 who have boltings. You'll want to get rid of them very quickly because they can target pretty much the whole map. And if your units get weakened, they will finish you off. You want to use the Ballista, which Louise can mount, and Nino's bolting to get rid of them. Some of them that appear over here, you can also use Farina and Heath, since they'll be in the area. More Peg Knights will appear on turn 8 and continue for 3 turns. And on turn 11, Cavaliers will begin to appear here and attack this southern area. You are going to want... I like to put Heath down here because he has really high defense, so he can handle it. And for the other spot, not a lot of your guys can keep up with Heath in defense. And Farina is generally needed over here to try and stem the tide. Cavaliers will also start appearing over here. I like to put Lynn with the Lance Reaver is good. I may be going with Ellawood this time, depending on who fares better at this door. Because Lynn is so dodgy, and then when you give her the Lance Reaver against lances, she's practically unhittable. And the good thing is that because they have javelins, and the AI likes to avoid counterattacks, they'll mostly just be uselessly throwing javelins at her. So the Lance Reaver doesn't get used up, and she keeps blocking the door. So that's a strategy for there. On turns 15, 17, and 19, right at the end, new reinforcements will appear on all of the different entrances. And down here, some Axe Reaver guys will appear, which is why you really don't want to leave your Axe guys down here. Up here, you're going to get some sword users and some mixed Cavaliers, which is why you should keep Farina here and not rely solely on axes, because they will kill your Axe users. Over here, you get more Axe and sword guys, but they have Reaver weapons, and one of them's got a light brand. So as long as you kept an Axe and a sword guy here, you should be fine. And, yeah, and Nino and Louise will also be over here to help, because these guys can get swarmy. This defender area, they tend to get in the most trouble. Heath is usually fine. Up here can be dicey. It goes both ways. What you're going to want to do right away is get Heath and Farina down here, kill the boss, kill this guy. Or he'll take the Ballista and he will fuck you up. You also want to kill this bolting mage. The healer, I set their AI to heal, but I've never actually seen them heal anyone, but you can kill them, you may as well. So that's the basic plan, and I will go right ahead and say I play this. I'm not very good at this game. I'm sure someone who's better at the game than me could trounce this level, but I play this with a list of the reinforcements and what turn they appear on next to me, which is provided in the walkthrough, I'll say, if you choose to play this yourself. And you should keep track very carefully of what turn it is. because you really don't want to be surprised by the reinforcements. You'll notice that there's nothing that you're trying to defend, so it's not like you have to stop them from breaching your lines or you'll lose. But if you let them get inside, your units can quickly get surrounded and overwhelmed, whereas here, you're limiting the number who can attack you. You're kind of bottlenecking them out, because there's a lot of them. So you really don't want them to get inside the fortress, particularly since different swords spawn at every gate. If the Cavaliers here get inside, they'll attack your sword guys over here. You know, if the Pegasus Knights get inside, you want to keep different units where they have the advantage and not allow the enemies to reach units who are at a disadvantage. So there may be an alternate strategy that works just as well, but I've found that defending the fortress is the best way. One thing that you could do, which I've never tried because it seemed kind of silly, but maybe it would work, is like spend most of the game leveling up just one person, and then at the unit select screen, just take them and have them, like have one of your flyers just wait in the corner or something, and almost no one would be able to hit them. The only problem is if one of the ballistas would be able to hit them, but no, they can't quite reach, so you could just play with only Heath and have him wait in the corner. But Lynn is forced. Yeah, I forgot that you're forced user, but you could have him rescue. His defense is high enough that the Peg Knights aren't a threat. So, yeah, I guess you could win that way, but that seems kind of... I mean, I don't really have a desire to do that, but you could, I guess. But, I have not ever successfully gotten past the first few turns by just having everyone try to huddle up here. And there's not many other locations for units to wait in. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's different things you could do. Oh, and some generals will be appearing down here, which is why you don't want to just hide here. Not to mention the Cavaliers. So that's the chapter. We'll start playing it next time. For enough items, and we'll basically just have to see how it goes. Kind of want to save so I don't have to do it over, but you know, I'll just make a save state, because that way if I change my mind about who I want to give the items to, I can go back. But yeah, the goal of this chapter was I wanted to have at least one defend chapter, so I could have, you know, all the different types of chapters. But a lot of Fire Emblem defense chapters, you can pretty much, if you've been training your units diligently, you can pretty much just slaughter the enemy. You know, in the plot, your characters are supposed to be defending because otherwise they'll be overwhelmed by these massive forces. But in-game, that's not really the case in most of those chapters. Same with some of the Survive chapters. You can perform a rout. So I wanted to design a defend chapter where that would not be possible, where you really do actually have to defend. That becomes your goal. And I think it succeeds pretty well. This chapter, I will say, has been nerfed several times because I was able to beat it on the harder when it was harder, but it was very, very difficult. And as some other chapters got nerfs, your unit's levels got a little lower, and this chapter became less and less feasible. So it's been nerfed a little, and sometimes on the last turn or two, you know, once the rush of chapter, like, you know, 17 and 19, the last ones, it's not bad, but for the most part, you really do have to just focus on defending. You can't rout. You can't just wander around routing. So, I think it succeeds in that sense. My commentary in this chapter may also be kind of boring, just because I'm focusing a lot on playing it properly so I don't die a million times. But, next time, we'll see it in action. So, that's all the setup. I hope after all this build-up, it's not a letdown. Because I actually am pretty proud of the design of this chapter. I think it works the way I intended it to work. I was able to express the idea the way I wanted to. So, next time we'll get started on the final chapter.